Hey everybody, it's Dana. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite go-to dyes. My friend Corin did a video a couple months ago sharing her creative process of the dyes that she goes to the most, and I'll link to that up here in the corner and in my description box for you guys to check out her video. But I decided to take her up on the challenge and record some of my go-to dyes. Now, some of these dyes I have, they may no longer be in stock, but they do have, hey everybody, it's Dana. Hey everybody, it's Dana. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm going to be doing a quick video, well, maybe not so quick video, on some of my favorite dyes. My friend Corin posted her ride or die favorite dyes that she constantly seems to go to create her cards, and I decided to take her up on the challenge of doing my own video on my go-to dyes when I'm making cards. Now for this video today, I'm just going to be doing like my basic layering dyes as well as some of my sentiment dyes, and then I'm going to come back with a follow-up video a little bit later in the week showing you my holiday dyes, and then the dyes that I go to make my shaker cards, and also ones that are my border dyes, the dyes that will rest on a border very nicely to create some fantastic looking cards. So let's go ahead and get started. So these here, God, why is that so bright? Okay, so these here are some of my go-to dyes when I'm making cards. A lot of these are stitched dyes, so they give a little detail around the border. And like I said, these are ones that I majorly will use on my cards. These are the ones I kind of always seem to be flipping through and pulling out to use. So for the first one here, I have the Pierce Square Stack from MFT. And I would just tell you in advance, a lot of my dyes, my layering dyes or my buildable dyes, majority of them are from MFT. So this one here is the Pierced Stack, which has these tiny little dots all the way around the little squares. And I like this because I have a lot of stitched dyes with the faux stitching, but this gives me a little bit of an option to not do that stitch look all the time. The next one I have is the Pierced Circles. So when I started to invest in my dyes, I knew I wanted to have squares and circles and rectangles because those are the majority of layout designs that I do. So I have here the Pierced Circle dyes. The next one I have is the Inside Outside stitched circles. Now I love this because when you die cut this out, you're going to get stitching on the inner part as well as the outer part of your design. So this is a fantastic way to have that multiple stitch look on your projects. The next one is the Double Stitch Square Stack. Same concept. As you can see, I always do one of each, a circle and a square. And this one here is very beautiful. It lines up easily, and I love the double stitching on this one. For my next one is the Cross Stitch Rectangle. Now this is not the pierced look or the stitched look. This has little tiny X's throughout each one of the dies. And I think this is beautiful, especially if you're making something that says like sewing, or if you're making something that you need to have almost like a little like tick marks or hash marks on your card. This is a fantastic die to have. Next, I'm going to move into my rectangles. So this one here is the Double Stitch Rectangle Stack. So that actually matches the squares. So these are very good to interchange on your cards, as well as just an added cuteness of having the double stitching. I'm going to skip over this one and come back to that. And then next I have the Stitch Rectangle Stack. This is probably one that I pull to the most when I'm making my cards. anytime I'm like building up a scene or I want like a frame around something, this is the die set I tend to go to the most. Next, I'm going to share with you some of my favorites that I just recently purchased or acquired in my stamp room. And these are the Pink and Main dies. So this one here is a stitched rectangle set, number 1. And I love how many dies come in this set. They're actually not the same size as the My Favorite Things one, which I love. So they're kind of interchangeable where I can use those sets together. Next, I have the stitched squares. Same thing. Look how many of these you get in this die set. It's absolutely beautiful. And what I love about Pink and Main is actually their pink dies. I think they're so pretty, and they just give like a pop of color in my die cutting drawer. So the next one I'm going to share with you is the large and thin fish tails from Pink and Main. Again, a great variety of images here, or die sizes here. And here is the larger one on the back. So these are very interchangeable as well. If you just want to like leave a larger border around your die, this is perfect for that technique. Next, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite sentiment dies. Now, I have a fascination of going back to using dies as my sentiment instead of just stamping out sentiments on my card, because I think that this just gives you a nice variation of placement as well when you just have a beautiful die sentiment. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So I recently purchased some of the Simon Says stamp like layered dies. So this is going to give you the word in the inside as well as a nice shadow background. This is such a beautiful concept to me, to be able to have that little bit of shading or a little bit of maybe of a back layer or a different color that you can put with your sentiments. So I have this one here, and then I also purchased the Friend one. This also is the same exact way. You have a beautiful friend sentiment, and then you have a layering one. But what's so awesome about this is that you don't have to use both of them together. You can use them separately. I like to be able to do the first one in a color and then the shadow one in a vellum. I think that's such a gorgeous way to highlight a sentiment on your card. So the next ones I have are ones that I go to constantly when I need Christmas sentiments. So this one here is the Piece One by MFT, and I love how large this sentiment is. It really takes up a good portion of your card, and it makes it super easy to make those holiday cards. The next one I have is Peace, Love, and Joy, and of course I have to have this one because it has my last name in it. So I'm going to actually pull out the Joy that I had previously cut out a whole bunch of these, but if I don't use it during a card process, then I just tuck everything back into my die holder, and then I have the word if I need to use it again. And look how beautiful this font is. This is what I really love about some of the sentiment stamps, that they come in really fun and even sometimes whimsical designs. So the next one here is the holiday word script, or holiday script word, sorry about that, from Altenew. These two are absolutely gorgeous. So you get variety in this one here. So I absolutely love it. So it says believe, and this one says wishes, and this one says Mary. Really, really bold and pretty to put on my holiday cards. So my next one up is another layering. So this one is Celebrating Awesome by Neat and Tangle. I'm going to go ahead and pull some of these out because I've already have some of the backgrounds cut out and ready for cards. So again, this has the same concept as the other one, where you're going to get a background layer as well as a top layer for your cards. So I'm just going to grab this out of the way and set this down aside so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So you're going to get an image that looks like that. So they actually kind of nestle into each other. However, they're two separate pieces, so you get the word in the background. So I would actually have like my awesome, if it was flipped this way, right on top of that gorgeous pink glitter background. It's such a gorgeous way to make sentiments. So like I said, if I end up die cutting out some images and I don't end up using them, I just tuck everything right back into that die cut folder and I can hold on to them later for a different project. The next one here is Pink and Main. Another fantastic layer die. So again, on these here, you're going to have a couple of words in this one. And then you're also going to have the background. And I love the fonts. Love, love, love the fonts on this. So we have a hello, we have a smile and a wishes. And then you get the coordinating background to these. Again, love Pink and Main because I absolutely love the pink dies. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that back and put that back in here because I don't want to misplace any of these. Next, we have a smaller die, but equally as impressive. This is the Kind die from Simon Says Stamp. Same concept. I have not had a chance to actually separate these, but I've die cut them out multiple times, just keeping all of my pieces together. So this is the Kind one. Next, I have several. I'm going to see if there's any more underneath there. Yes, there's several Simon Says Stamp ones. And as you can tell, I'm a Simon Says Stamp fanatic. All of these here are bold sentiments that I can just quickly die cut out and place on my cards. So we have a Hey Love. We have Big Love Hugs, which I'll turn this around because this one has a Love You, which is perfect for my Valentine's Day cards, my anniversary cards, or just because like I love you cards. And they also come with coordinating little hearts. I also have the Big Hugs die, which I have a few of these already cut out, so you can kind of look to see what that looks like. And how gorgeous is that font? So again, if you're multi-cutting some stuff out, hold on to those pieces and you'll be able to use those for projects a little bit later. My next one is Big Hello. Now I have the Big Hello and the smaller hello in this case here because I don't want to separate these because I think they work perfectly together. So those, I have an option to use a larger die across my card or the smaller one. So anytime I'm using an additional sentiment on the front of my card, I tend to go to the smaller one and then place my sentiment strip underneath it. Now this one coming up is probably one of my favorites from Simon Says Stamp. So this one says, You the best. Now I've placed this on a couple of cards already and mailed them out, and I know that the recipients love them. But this again is the same concept. It's a layering die where you're going to get this part of the sentiment as well as a shadow piece. And like I said, this one by far is probably my favorite. I love that the sentiment is not just built on one line. I love that it's broken down. And of course, I just love that sentiment. Okay, coming towards the end, I like to use large dies like this to make shaker cards. So this Love You from Simon, My Favorite Things, is gorgeous because it leaves me all of these nice open areas that I can make shaker cards with. But again, it's a very bold sentiment that will really fit well on any kind of card where you don't have to add much to the card. My next one is a couple of thanks dies. I do like to have a couple of different varieties of thank yous or thank dies because I do a lot of thank you cards, a lot. So I have a great assortment of having those, and then I also have a great assortment of having different fonts with these. So these are like my total go-to if I have to make thank you cards. And for these here, I kind of kept these together and I just run them all together. So I just have a different variety of the thanks without like separating out the dies. Now, lastly, I have another thank you die, but this one is in a circle, which again works perfectly for my shaker cards. So this one here is by My Favorite Things, and as you can see, it says thank you in a circle. Now they have one also that has Christmas, and I believe one that has birthday. I do have the Christmas one, but I'll be showing you guys that one when I do my Christmas and holiday dies. So this die is actually so gorgeous, and it's easy to stack. So you can cut this several times and actually make yourself your own little embellishment, which is fantastic for card making. So that was a little bit of a longer video for you guys, but I will be back to share with you all of the Christmas dies that I use and border dies a little bit later in the week. You guys have a fantastic day, and I hope I gave you some options for your basic dies to go ahead and get your dies going to make your cards and as well place beautiful sentiments. I will see you guys rather soon in another video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.